Hello. Um, this might sound crazy to you guys, but I don't think Bush was behind 9/11 to make Islam look evil. So he could then invade Iraq. As a matter of fact, I don't think Bush was behind 9/11 to make Islam look evil at all, because it seems to me that Bush wouldn't have said right after the attack on 9/11, that Islam is a religion of peace. And I do think that one of the reasons why Bush invaded Iraq was to go after the weapons of mass destruction, because I think he thought Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, because even Clinton thought Saddam had weapons of mass destruction, because he attacked Iraq in December of 1998 in Operation Desert Fox to try to put Saddam back in his weapons acquirement, you know what I mean? But I think the main reason why Bush invaded Kuwait, it was due to the same reason why I think the first Bush allowed Saddam to invade Kuwait for a while, or before he'd been turned on him, just to fulfill, as an attempt to fulfill the prophecy of Jeremiah chapters 50 and 51 and Habakkuk chapter 1 and 2. I know it sounds crazy to you, but if you read those chapters, they sound like what took place over in Iraq. They picked an opportune time when Israel was coming back into Israel. When the Jews were coming into Israel, because it says, in those days and at that time, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah shall come and seek the Lord their God to Zion, which is Israel in our time. So I think that's possibly one of the reasons why the first Bush tricked Saddam into invading Kuwait, so he could then make the rest of those scriptures take place. And people think, well, the reason why the first Bush let Saddam kill the Kurds and Shi'ites without lifting a finger, even though he had the huge military there that could have stopped him easy, was to make a buffer. They wanted Saddam in power to keep him as a buffer of his own against Iran, that he was following the orders of Saudi Arabia, since they have all the oil and he was being controlled by him. Saudi Arabia didn't want him to, didn't want the first Bush to try to stop Saddam from killing the Kurds, and the Shiites. But I think the reason why Bush didn't lift a finger is because he wanted Jeremiah 51 verse 1 to kick into play. That's why he told Saddam to not fly fixed-wing aircraft, but allowed him to fly helicopters. Because in Jeremiah 51 verse 1, it says, and I'll send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall enter your land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. And let's face it, a helicopter looks like a giant fan, And I think that's why Bush wouldn't let his military shoot down those helicopters, because he wanted that thing to be fulfilled. And now when the second Bush, I think the reason why the second Bush wanted shock and awe wasn't to show how great our weapons were at hitting targets without killing civilians and stuff, but it was to fill Jeremiah 50, where it says, that the arrows shall be as a mighty expert man, and then shall return in vain. So it created the shock and awe to make it look like that scripture was being fulfilled, because it says the arrows shall be as mighty expert man, not the archers or the people that shoot the arrows, but that the arrows shall be as mighty expert man. So I think that's why Bush did the shock and awe thing. It wasn't to show how great the missiles can hit their targets without killing civilians and stuff. It was to fulfill that. And I think another reason why Bush, this first Bush, didn't stop Saddam from damming the marshes, the south where the marsh Arabs are, and drying up the reeds and then burning them with fire, so he could so Saddam could get the marsh Arabs better who are against him. I think the reason why the first Bush didn't destroy those dams, and I think the reason why the first Bush let Saddam burn the marshes was to fulfill the scripture in Jeremiah, again, 50. It was either 51 or 51. Well, it talks of, it's Jeremiah 51, where it says, and the passages are stopped, damned, actually, if you look it up. And the reeds, they are burned with fire, you know. I think Bush allowed Saddam to burn those things to make that look like it was being fulfilled. Oh, and I also think the reason why Bush didn't do much to the second Bush, I think the reason why the second Bush didn't stop the suicide car bombings where the Sunnis were blowing up the Shi'ites in the marketplaces and the shrines and all that, was because he wanted to try to fulfill that scripture in Jeremiah 51 where God says, and I'll break in pieces the chariot and his rider. It starts off with the chariot and his rider, and it says, "I'll break in pieces old man and maid." God goes on and on about what he's going to break in pieces, and I think that's the reason why Bush didn't stop the car bombs in those Shiite marketplaces, was so he could have that fulfilled. Well, or to try and make it look fulfilled, you know. So, and also, one of the main ones is that I think he did want to make it an oil situation. Not a weapons of mass destruction thing, but an oil situation. Because in Jeremiah 51, it says, Babylon has been the golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. All the nations are drunken over wine, therefore the nations are mad. And so, wine can be easily seen as, well anyway, I'll get back to you later on, but I've got it.